I'm a terrible pharmacist. Not every student becomes a great pharmacist, and I'm one of those examples. My story starts with how I entered the profession, or rather, how I fell into pharmacy and didn't climb out. I never had much interest in pharmacy in high school, but I liked the idea of going into the medical field. Math and science came naturally to me, and a job in healthcare sounded like a safe and respectable career path, one that wouldn't cause too much trouble for me in the long run. Plus, unlike doctors or nurses, pharmacists don't have to touch blood, butts, or guts. I still consider this one of our profession's strongest upsides. Pharmacy paid well. It allowed people to go part-time, to focus on family and other pursuits, or so I thought. There were plenty of jobs back in 2005, according to all the articles foretelling the need for more and more PharmDs in the years to come. And my parents nodded approvingly when I mentioned the idea. Besides, I needed to pick a major. Why not pick the path of least resistance? And so I became a pharmacist. It never occurred to me that I would be a terrible one. I'm terrible because I don't have the qualities a typical pharmacist should have. I lack attention to detail, and I hate scouring through notes looking for information. Reviewing a patient's chart is a chore rather than a joy. I'm not a serious person. Let's not even go into how I approach patient care. I have been told you need to speak to your patients with a more seriousness, more times than I can count. I'm naturally absent-minded. The simplest things pass by me without even me noticing, like taxes or a friend's birthday. I've been told that my first impression, I come off as though I don't care about others. I hate professionalism. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I hate being respectful. In fact, I think the workplace needs a bit more of that. But button up, there's a checklist for everything. Micromanagement has made the job so dull at times. And I like experimenting and trying new things, which is a no-no in pharmacy, right? Finally, I practice pharmacy without much interest in the outcome. I care about my patients, but my job doesn't make me wake up in the morning with excitement. Helping patients lose weight can be fun, but lowering an A1C is about as exciting as watching a slideshow of someone else's family's vacation. Sadly, these character traits are things I cannot improve because it's how I was wired. I'm a terrible pharmacist because I don't like to do clinical activities. I don't love using medications to help people solve their problems. In fact, I think the USA has a prescription addiction. Lectures on new drugs bore me to tears. It's difficult enough to get me to sit down for an hour-long CE. And I don't like pharmacy conventions. Well, that's not exactly true. I enjoy going to the events because I get to meet people and see friends. But what bored me are those presentations. They're awful. It's like transitioning from playing your favorite game to being forced to sit through an algebra lesson. I don't pore over pharmacy literature or keep up with the latest and greatest in pharmacology. I hardly know anything about the new medications, and if I'm honest, I don't really care to learn more. In short, I feel like I'm a fake pharmacist. I despise our current healthcare system that rewards the unhealthy. I despise the treatment of community pharmacists by major corporations. I despise the lack of job opportunities for pharmacists. I despise the fact that the part-time actually means you're being demoted. I despise that it's so difficult for pharmacists to become entrepreneurs. Most of all, I hate seeing how the industry uses, abuses, burns out, chews up, spits out, and otherwise makes really awesome people miserable. But while I have little interest in practicing the pharmacy profession, I am passionate about pharmacists. This book and my website, thehappypharmd.com, were born out of my passion for helping pharmacists create fulfilling careers. Now, you may be wondering, why in the world should I listen to you? I mean, you just told us that you're a terrible pharmacist. But here's what you don't know. Because of my pursuit into entrepreneurship, I've received 30 job offers in the last 4 years. These include traditional jobs like part time work, pharma jobs, and academia, but also non traditional jobs like medical writing, independent pharmacy consulting, speaking, and consulting work for companies outside of healthcare and in healthcare. I've invested over $40,000 into job strategies, career coaching, and I have benefited them in ways I could have never imagined. Over the years, I've created 5 businesses. Now, 3 of those totally failed, but all contributed to my family paying off over $200,000 debts within 5 years after residency. And I've coached over 300 pharmacists, and as of this recording, over 400 pharmacists to help them obtain their career goals. My career development articles on Pharmacy Times, Doc Cafe, Doximity, and the Happy PharmD and Pharmacy School HQ have been viewed over 3.5 million times. And while I'll never become a leading expert in a specialized field of pharmacy care, I've positioned myself as a niche expert in career development and business. And I'm a million times happier than I was before. The work I do now, like writing this book, is the stuff I love to do. And in this way, I feel like I'm being the best pharmacist possible by teaching, coaching, and speaking on subjects I care about, like pharmacist burnout and career fatigue. I'm my best self when I help others reach their fullest potential. And that's what I hope Indispensable will do for you. Throughout this book, I will share stories from my career and from my pharmacy clients. Some names will stay the same and others will change to protect the innocent. I want you to discover fulfilling work, even if it is outside of pharmacy, and work in your unique ability, where you work and it meets your passion, your interest, your love, your strengths, and your character. I want you to be happy and I want you to feel in control of your career. If you don't think it's possible to find work that makes you happy, then this book isn't for you. If you believe you can, then you're ready. This book is split into 4 parts. Part 1 will help you understand your current pharmacy reality and diagnose the source of your unhappiness. Part 2 is about discovering your options and where and how you might make a change, whether it is in a new field of pharmacy or outside of the profession. Part 3 dives into the messy middle, the strategy behind your career transition. And finally, Part 4 focuses on how to make your career indispensable, create value, and build valuable relationships. What you'll have at the end of this book is a new direction, the one you choose. Not only that, but you'll have the necessary tools to build your most valuable asset, your career in living a life by design. But before we can get started exploring where you'll go, we need to understand where you are now. Let's take a good, hard look at what we're up against.